Greg Scott is a friend. I've gotten to know him over the last several years. He is a friend who is always always going up in arms here about these data breaches that seem to just be recurring. And I don't know if it's just the prevalence of more and more people trying to hack or what the deal is here. But Greg Scott he's authored a book that has nothing to do with the Target breach, but it's called Bullseye Breach. And it kind of looks at a situation that occurred there. Hey, Greg, thanks for coming on once again this morning. We're going to talk a little bit about Equifax breach here. What makes this one so special?
Hi, John. Well, thanks for having me. This one's special because this one didn't steal credit cards. This one stole Social Security numbers and all kinds of identifying information, about 143 million of us. Well, let's be super accurate. We don't know if all that data was stolen, but we do know that it was all exposed, and we have to assume that it was all stolen. Great news for all of us. 143 million of our Social Security numbers are out there in the public domain being bought and sold underground now.
Yeah, this is what happens because people buy these on the dark web or whatever, and you say, well, what is that worth? To them, it doesn't matter if they get $1 or 50 cents for it, because if you're selling it 1 million times, you're making that much money, right?
Yep, exactly. Yep, I sell your Social Security number for a couple bucks, and then my buyer goes out and sets up a fake ID with your Social Security number, charges up $1 bazillion on all kinds of credit cards, and flies to South America, and you're stuck with the bill. Isn't that fun?
Now, here's a question I have though: where did Equifax? Because you bring this down to the fact that systems are broken everywhere, and things aren't being done to repair them or to plug these gaps, fill these holes. Where did Equifax screw up?
Oh, boy. Do we have enough hours in the day?
Right.
Equifax screwed up, number one, by not protecting our data. This is the company that promises to do identity theft protection and all that stuff. Okay, back up. Equifax, there's 3 players. There's consumers, that's you and me. We buy stuff.
Right.
There's creditors, that's the banks. Banks loan us money so we can buy stuff. And then there's credit reporting agencies like Equifax and their buddies. And those guys collect data about what we do with our credit so that the creditors can assess the risk. That's how the system works. There's 3 players. You and I, we're accountable. If we don't pay our loans, well, we're in a world of hurt. Creditors are accountable because if they offer bad interest rates or do bad service, they're in a world of hurt. The credit reporting agencies, they're not accountable to anybody. That's the core of the problem. So these guys messed up because they don't really have any incentive to be careful anyway. So they got sloppy with their security. There was a patch to a software component that they use called Apache Struts, and there was a bug, and the fix came out for that bug in March, and they never applied the fix. So then in May, somebody, we don't know who, somebody broke into their system, took advantage of that bug, and just ran around their network for 2 months until they finally figured it out. And then, after they figured it out, they took 5 weeks to tell the world about it. During that 5 weeks, they set up a half-baked website for so that you could call in and find out if you were a problem or not. The website never did work right. It still doesn't work right. And then, after they reported it, after they found it, and before they reported it, 3 of their top honchos sold a whole bunch of stock. And now their CEO has been fired. There is so much wrong with what initially went wrong and what they did with the response. We could write books about that. We could do semester college courses about how to not deal with data breaches properly.
Well, now here's the thing, Greg. Chatting with Greg Scott, and this is the area in which he works, the cybersecurity and so much more. But here's the thing. People might say that, well, I've been checking my account, nothing seems to be out of whack. But these people who do this and who hack you and who take advantage of these bugs, these holes or whatever that are in the systems, they're not in any hurry. So you're gonna have to be watching this for years to come before something might occur. Now, what about this? About 2 years ago, I put a freeze on Equifax, Experian, and what's the third one?
TransUnion, and there's a fourth one, Innovis.
Okay, I guess I didn't do that one, but so
you did good.
But somebody
you done good, John.
Somebody said to me though, in light of this Equifax exposure here, that if you were frozen on one, you were pretty much covered across the board anyway.
Yeah, maybe. It depends on how much you trust those guys. They already violated my trust once. Why should I believe them now? If it were me, call all of them and make sure you're frozen with all of them.
All right, so
But
here,
that's even a hassle because they're swamped. Number one, they're swamped. Number two, they make money from selling your data. If you freeze your credit, they can't sell your data to anybody. So they put all kinds of fun and games in your way to get that done.
well, here's a question I have then. Are we just all out of luck? Because, every time you turn around, there's another data breach. Are we just out of luck, or can all of these things actually be stopped, Greg? Because the people who hack and who do this thievery are always working to. It's like sports doping. Every time you, well, seriously, like
or an arms race. Yeah, pick your metaphor.
Yeah, whatever it might be. I'll just come up with something better, and then I'll come up with another way to protect that. I mean, how do they get to be proactive in this situation?
Here's what we do. There's some special things with the credit reporting industry that we ought to do, and there's some general protection things that everybody should do across all industries, across everything. Every single one of these monster breaches that we've heard about over the years, every single one of them was preventable. Every single one. They all, when you dig into what you can dig into, it all comes back to people at the top not caring and being careless. It comes back to that. So if you're a busy executive and you don't have time to dig down deep in the security details, I'm going to give you a 6-word nursery rhyme. This is everything you need to know about security, boiled down into 6 easy to remember words, and it even rhymes. Here it is: care and share to be prepared. I don't know how to make it any more simple than that. Now, on the Equifax thing, we need a way to make the credit reporting agencies accountable. And I came up with a nifty idea. When the banks and other people report stuff about my credit, when they report my payments and that I took out a loan, the banks can encrypt that report with a public key that I control. It's my public key. When anybody wants to get a credit report, they use my private key to decrypt it. So we take advantage of this public key cryptography that's already out there, that's already been around for years and years and years, that we use every day when we go online. We apply that technology to these transactions. Now I'm a player. I'm not the enemy anymore. I'm a partner. Anytime anybody wants to look at my credit report, they have to decrypt it with my key that I control, which means they have to ask my permission to look at it. If we do that one structural reform, a whole bunch of good things happen, and everybody wins. And the credit reporting agencies still make money. Let's do that. Right now, there's 1 million lawsuits flying around, and there's proposals to do heavy-duty regulation. There's all kinds of government people that are mad. Let's do this structural reform, and then we can get it done faster, and we can get it done in a way that makes everybody win.
All right. Well, here's a question, and actually, Carl has called in with this question, but I'll just pose it too. Then, how can we protect? Obviously, falling short of that, because that key thing doesn't exist yet. But falling short of that, how can we protect our Social Security number now and our data?
You can't. There's nothing you can do about it. Your Social Security number is in public. It's out there. The genie's out of the bottle. The cat's out of the bag. Pick your metaphor. It's already happened. Everybody knows my Social Security number. Anybody that wants to bad enough can go get a passport in my name, or get a driver's license in my name, or take out credit cards in my name. With the system as it exists today, we're sitting ducks. I wish I had better news, but I don't. We're sitting ducks. And then when we sign up for credit monitoring, there's all these credit monitoring services.
Right.
Somebody takes out a loan in my name and charges up $1 zillion. I'll find out about it a few days after the fact. By then it's too late. The money's gone. And now it's up to me to prove that I didn't do it, that somebody else pretending to be me did it. And law enforcement won't lift a finger to help me.
Well,
that's why this whole situation is bad, and why we need structural reform. By the way, if we do this structural reform, Social Security numbers aren't the big deal anymore that they used to be. And Social Security numbers should have never been an authenticator. It was lazy from day one, 40 years ago, when they started this up. It should never. When I give you my Social Security number, All I do is prove that I know the Social Security number that belongs to Daniel Gregory Scott. I don't prove that I'm me. I just prove that I know this public knowledge.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but again, we're looking back now that these things have gone by, Greg.
Yeah, they've gone by. Freeze your credit. Do the best you can to freeze your credit. You might have to pay. You might have to pay these credit reporting agencies to do so. You're going to have to put up with a lot of bureaucracy and a lot of hassles and a lot of telephone menus that change every few hours to make it more difficult. But freeze your credit. At least theoretically, no one can take out a loan in your name if you do that.
All right,
that's a good proactive measure.
That's the best we can hope for right now. Hey, Greg, I can hear the frustration in your voice. We'll talk. We'll get together and talk some more soon here. Thanks for answering these questions. And again, we have seen the future, and it is bleak. So,
well, doesn't have to be bleak. Let me give you a plug to find out more. Go to my website, D as in Daniel, dgregscott.com. Go there, and I have a whole bunch of content and a whole bunch of ideas. Write your congressmen, write your senators, tell them we need to do this structural reform, get on board, and let's push like mad, and we can fix this thing.
All right. Good stuff. dgregscott.com.
Yes, sir.
You got it. Have a great day, Greg. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, John.
Bye-bye.